to tell you, one of the most inspirational speakers I've ever heard, and a guy who I will work tirelessly for also. I think one of the best congressmen in the whole United States Congress, Representative Tim Ryan.
Start voting tomorrow. There's not an election day, there's an election month. And so we have a great opportunity, I think, to meet Chairman Beatrice's goal and the goal of the Democrats to get all of our folks out to vote in order to make sure that we keep going down the same road. In the late 1970s, there was the top 1% of the people in the United States controlled 9% of real income. So the top 1% had 9%. In 2007, the top 1% controlled 23.5% of real income. And the top 5% and the top 10% all increased. And so what we have seen since 1980 is an acceleration of wealth to the top 1, 2, 5, and 10% of the people in this country. And that wealth, as we very well know in this community, has been squeezed out of the middle class, rising health care costs, rising tuition costs, rising costs for food and everything else, prescription drugs, squeezed out of the middle class and goes to the top. And we have abandoned the economic policies that we had in this country from post-World War II till 1980. When the middle class benefited, the lower 20% benefited. We had Medicare, we had Social Security, we had reasonable health care costs, we had investments in infrastructure and education and the Pell Grant, we had community development block grants. We were investing into our country, not Democrats, not Republicans, but into our country. And that got abandoned when they started peddling this snake oil called supply-side economics, and somehow convinced the American people that if the guys at the top of the scale kept getting richer, we'd all be better off. And so they made so much money, they started gambling and had to figure out credit default swaps and all kinds of fancy ways to gamble it. They moved it out of factories at Delphi, General Motors, all over the country, moved it to China, moved it to Mexico, and shipped the products back. Meanwhile, the middle class has lost its buying power. And we wonder in 2010 why everybody in this country is a little bit pissed off. They're not gravitate towards these fringe groups. They're mad because of the economic system in this country has kept them down for 30 years. And they had to borrow on their house. They had to borrow on their house so they could send their kids to school. They had to borrow on their house so they could pay for their daughter's wedding. Is that the kind of country we want to live in? No. This issue, the campaign that we fight today, and the issues that we talk about today, to me, are value issues. These are family values issues, front and center in the Mahoning Valley and in the state of Ohio. And what we have now in office, with Ted Strickland, and with the Democrats across the country, no, we don't have a magic wand. You know, the Republicans are mad at us because they caused all these problems and we haven't fixed them fast enough. So they're mad at us now. But look at who the architects were of this snake oil that's been peddled. John Kasich, Rob Portman, George Bush, been peddling this stuff for years. And the culmination of that economic policy ended in September of 2008. And the lights went on, and the country voted, and we started turning the ship around when Ted Strickland was elected in 06 and President Obama in 08. That's when we started to turn this around. And Ted can speak, and Yvette can speak for themselves, but I will tell you this. Look at what this man has done for this community. He go to Toledo, and he's got a lot to talk about there in South, Columbus, Cincinnati. He's done great things all over this state. But we vote. How's it help us? How do you help us? Well, B&M Star, 350 new jobs, 400 to 500 construction jobs, $650 million in investment. Ted Strickland made that happen. Every day, my office, the mayor's office, the state delegation on the phone with the Department of Development to make sure that that deal happened because of Ted Strickland. General Motors, Dave Green's here from UAW. General Motors. Third shift, $300 million in tax incentives because of the leadership of Ted Strickland. And not to mention, the Democrats in the United States Congress who had the guts to say, we are not going to lose the American auto industry over our dead bodies. And now, we got a third shift and opportunities for more cars and all of the ripple effect that that manufacturing is going to bring. Technology companies moving from Silicon Valley to Youngstown. We were the only area of the country, only urban area of the country without a community college. We now have a community college because that man right there is our governor. We have a community college in the Mahoning Valley. So on and on and on and on. Neighborhood development money, cleaning up our neighborhoods, right down the line. Ted Strickland has been with us. And here's what the choice is, as Ted says. It's not between him and the economy. It's between him and John Kasich. And John Kasich was the architect, voted for NAFTA, voted for MFN with China, voted even against those people who lost their jobs because of trade. He voted to get rid of the program that would have helped support them get retrained. We cannot put these folks back in office. Nothing personal to them. But we can't put him back in office. He wants to get rid of the income tax. Those of you who ever went to public school, that's a minor component to how schools get funded in Ohio. You know? Those of you who get the Ohio Instructional Grant. I mean, look at what we would sacrifice. We have a congressman who became governor who represented our valley. These are values issues for us. And Ted Strickland's been with us, and we need to be with him. No matter what issue you pick, he's been on our team. He's wearing our jersey. And we all could probably pick one or two things maybe Ted did we didn't like. My God, he's the governor of 88 counties. He can't please everybody. Like our parents used to tell us in high school, not everyone's going to like you. You know? Mine told me that more than I would like to hear, but that's a personal issue I need to deal with. But this is the honest to God's truth. This election is about, are we going to invest in our future? Or are we going to try to squeeze that wealth from the top and push it back into the middle class? And these jobs he's helping bring at B&M, $50,000+ a year, at General Motors, at TMK Ipsco up in Brookfield, $20 an hour. These are middle class jobs. These are middle class jobs. So I ask each of you, I'm going to be hitting the trail for the next 30 whatever days, hard, and we all got to do it. I mean this. We have got to talk to people. Don't be bashful about hand-to-hand combat and telling people why we can't give the keys of the car back to this outfit. We need your help. We need your support. And more importantly, this valley is one thing, if not anything else. We are loyal. We are loyal. And this guy has been loyal to us, and we owe every ounce of effort that we can muster to make sure that he becomes the governor for the next 4 years. Please help us support that.